Well, good evening, dear students. It's a pleasure for me to be here on our third workshop of this course. We will wait a couple of minutes to see if more people join, and if not, in a couple of minutes we'll start with our work of today.
Good evening. I just want to know if someone can hear me. Can someone hear me?
Okay, I think we can start. In the first two sessions, we went over the simple present using the verb to be. Also, we studied the simple present with other verbs. And then also, we already studied the simple past and the present continuous. For this session, we'll be working with the future, the simple future, or the basic form of the future, that is the use of will. We will also go over some of the most basic conjunctions and, or, so, but, and then we'll study some other elements, and we'll have a little bit of production so that you can write some sentences using the conjunctions and the other elements that we'll be studying today. So to start with the future, I have to tell you that the future is a little bit easier than the past and the present. And now that you have some base, it is also even simpler. Basically, for the future, in this case, for this first form, we'll study the use of will, and the formula for the affirmative sentence will include the subject that we already know. We can have a personal pronoun, for example, or we can have the name of a person, an object, or any other element. Then we will place will, and as you can see in the image, it says that we can also use shall. Shall is super formal and it's not included in your lesson. It is part of this image, and it's nothing complex. Like what we do is just to use shall instead of will, but it's not part of your unit. So just ignore the use of shall. So we'll have will, and then we will use the verb, and as it says here, we will include it in the verb form or the simple form. It means that we are not going to add s to the verb, we are not going to add ed to the verb, or we won't make any change to the verb. So it'll go in the simple form. Para la oración afirmativa en el futuro, entonces vamos a poner primero el sujeto, luego will, que es la partícula que nos va a marcar el futuro, y el verbo en la forma simple. Eso quiere decir que no le vamos a agregar nada. No le ponemos s, no ponemos la ed, no ponemos ing, ni tampoco hacemos ningún otro cambio en el verbo. En este caso no importa si el verbo es regular, irregular o si es el verbo to be, siempre vamos a ponerlo en la forma simple. Then for the negative sentence, we will follow a really similar structure. We will have first the subject, then will plus the negative particle not, and then the verb in the verb form or the simple form. When we join will plus not, then it will change into want. So instead of saying will not, what we will say is want. And remember, as I told you in the first session, the use of abbreviations in English is really common, and we use them for formal English, and also we use them for informal or daily English as well. And the only time in which we don't use the abbreviations is in formal written English. But when speaking or day-to-day written English, then we will use the abbreviations as well. And then in the case of the question, we will make subject-verb inversion. It means that in this case, we'll place first will, then the subject, and then the verb, as you can see, in the base form or the simple form, and then the rest of the sentence. As an example of the affirmative sentence with will, we can say, I'll go to Thailand. Then in the negative one, I will not go to Thailand, which will be the same as saying I won't go to Thailand. And then we will have the question, will you go to Thailand? So remember, we don't add anything to the verb. So if you say I will goes, it'll be incorrect. Or if you conjugate the verb, you put it in the past, for example, I will went to Thailand, that will be incorrect. Or if you say something like I will to go to Thailand, it will be incorrect again as well. So we don't change anything, we don't add anything, but we will leave the verb in the simple form. Up to here, do you have any questions about the future? ¿Hasta acá alguna pregunta del futuro?
No, teacher.
Thank you.
Okay, perfecto. So let's do a practice to see if you understood the future. To practice, I got a Kahoot for you. Let me open the link. And as you know, to join Kahoot, you will use either the number, the code, or you can scan the QR code, and we'll get some questions to check if you understood the content. So I'll copy the link in the chat of the session, and also you can join using the number that is there, 6733487, or scanning the code. We will give a couple of minutes for you to join.
Me, teacher.
Yes, tell me.
Thank you. Question. Today only see verb will in the present or in the past. I don't know.
No, will is the future.
Will is the future.
Uh-huh.
Only future.
Yes, we use will for the future.
Okay. Only the future. Use will.
Uh-huh.
Thank you.
Welcome. Okay, we have 9 people in the game. Should I wait for someone else, or are you ready? ¿Alguien está intentando unirse al Kahoot y debemos esperarlo o lo iniciamos? Remember that if you cannot join, you can also play by answering the questions for yourself. There is no problem. Okay, so let's start with the ones who are ready. The first one says, let's go to the beach tomorrow. I think it, sunny. Very good. The 9 of you got it correct. It will be sunny. Good. And we have Tatiana in the first place. Question number 2. Thomas is sick, so he in class today. The 9 of you got it correct again. Very good, excellent. Tatiana keeps the first place. Number 3. Your brother be here soon. Yes, he. Okay, in this case we got 8 people with the correct answer. This was a question, so we'll start with will. Will your brother be here soon? Yes, he. And we answer with will. Yes, he will. Someone got the other option. 1B, your brother. Remember that in English we usually don't use negative in the questions. Laura, no hay problema, puede contestar las preguntas para usted ahí mentalmente, no pasa nada, es solo una práctica, no se preocupe. Okay, let's see number 4. My family and I fly to Italy on our holiday. We got 5 people with the correct answer. My family and I will fly. In the case of the yellow one, we cannot have two verbs. So if we put be and fly, then we are having two verbs. We can be in Italy, but we cannot fly to Italy. So that will be the difference. Now we have Dania in the first place. My sister busy at 3 o'clock, so you can call back at that time. And only one person got it correct. My sister will be busy at 3 o'clock. Hasta ahí, esa estaría correcta en términos de gramática y contenido. But when we add the other part, so you can call back at that time, ya no tendría sentido. Entonces, por eso es que tenemos que hacer la negativa. My sister won't be busy at 3 o'clock, so you can call back at that time. Aquí no les falló la parte gramatical de las estructuras, sino el contenido. Very good to the person who got it correct. Beto, great, Beto. Number 6, it says, you talk to Mr. Wilson. No, I. Will you talk to Mr. Wilson? No, I won't. Remember, we don't make negative questions. We usually don't make negative questions. And when we answer in negative, we need to have the auxiliary in the negative form. So we cannot say, no, I will, but we'll say, no, I won't, which is the same as, no, I will not. Beto keeps the first place. Number 7, our son, 3 years old next January. Number 6, 6 people got it correct. Our son will be 3 years old next January. Excellent. Dania is on the top now, again, back. You see the ballet tonight? Yes, I. And the 9 of you got it correct. Very good. Dania keeps the first place. Number 9, my friend, on time because he's late. Pay attention to the content, not only grammar, but also the content. My sister won't be on time because my friend won't be on time because he is late. Very good. Dania keeps the first place. Number 10. I'll clean the living room, but I clean the kitchen. Very good. 6 people got it correct. And here we have the use of but that represents contrast. And we will be studying this as part of the topics of today as well. Excellent. Dania keeps the first place. Number 11. Jennifer doesn't think she ready to leave in half an hour. Only 2 people got it correct, and pay attention that this one is tricky. Jennifer doesn't think she won't be ready. That doesn't make sense. But she thinks she will be ready to leave in half an hour. So it means that she thinks that it'll take her longer to be ready. Tanya keeps the first place. Number 12. There any food left if we arrive at the party late? There won't be any food, so we don't need to get late. Excellent. Number 13. You so tired tomorrow if you go to bed earlier. The meaning here is important, the content. You won't be so tired tomorrow, meaning that today the person is really tired. So in the sentence they are recommending that the person goes to bed earlier tonight. Good, Dania keeps the first place. Number 14, we don't have any milk, so I go to the store to buy some. And 6 people got it correct. We don't have any milk, so I will go to the store to buy some milk. Excellent. Now Marcelo has the first place. Number 15. They finished their homework before 6 o'clock. This is a question. Will they finish their homework before 6 o'clock? And well, they accept both here, but as I told you, grammatically speaking, we usually don't ask questions in negative form. Dania got the first place again. And number 16. Sarah didn't eat lunch today, so I think she hungry soon. She will be. I think she will be hungry soon. Excellent. And in the podium, we got in the third place Tatiana. The second place is for Helen. And the first place for Dania. Congratulations, Dania, and everybody for participating. And I don't know if now that we had an activity, if you have questions about the future. If everything is clear, then we can continue with our next
Teacher.
topic. Yes.
Well, I was raising the hand, but I don't know if you saw it.
Chris.
I have a little question, but I was just waiting for the game to get over. This question is because it's my first time in this in English. So here's my question: we will always cover in these meetings just grammatical topics, because, well, this is English for computers and all the topics of technology, but I don't know if we are just gonna cover the grammatical topics.
Yes. Remember that in the idea of the UNED is that you can study by yourselves. You have the book, and so the focus of English for specific purposes is that you learn a little bit of the grammar structures by using the content of computers, of course. So all the book that you are provided with is using examples and readings and listening activities, and you also have the answer key in which you can check the questions and the answers and the exercises and everything. So the idea here is to provide you some support for the quizzes and the exams, and we do it in general. Then if you have any questions, like specific questions about the lessons, the units that we have to cover in this session, you can let me know at the end. There is no problem.
And it doesn't matter if it's about the topic of technology, or we can just ask about grammar.
No, no, I mean, if I know, I can help you, of course. But in terms of technology, remember that in the English courses, you don't learn the content itself, but the vocabulary. Supposedly, you already know the content in Spanish. But if I know, I can help you, of course, there's no problem.
Okay, that was just my question. Thank you so much.
Welcome. Okay, so let's continue with the second part. As I told you, we are going to study two different elements now, that are the conjunctions and the suggestions, giving suggestions or pieces of advice to people. And for the conjunctions, in this case, we will go over four of the most basic ones. There are a lot of conjunctions that you can use as well. Remember that conjunctions, what they do is to join two sentences. So we can join two complete sentences, or we can join two ideas to make a sentence more complex, or to provide a more complete meaning. So in the case of Anne, we will use it for similar ideas. For example, he's a plumber and she's a teacher. See that both of the sentences are expressing the profession of a person. Two different people, but the sentences are similar in terms of structure and also in terms of content. Then in the case of but, we have we use it for contrast, and in this case what we will do is to use the sentences in order to provide two different meanings of the same idea. So for example, I studied a lot, but I failed the exam. So even though I studied a lot, the result didn't show what I studied or the effort that I did. Then we have a or, that is the one that provides us with two possibilities, or it could be even more than two, but with possibilities. So for example, in the question, do you prefer tea or coffee? So you can choose one of them. Do you prefer water, tea, or coffee? So in that case, we'll have three different options. So we can add as many options as we want, and what we'll do, as we do in Spanish, is just to place the or at the end between the two last options. So for example, do you prefer tea or coffee? If we change that or for and, if we say do you want tea and coffee, so we are offering the person the two things. But if we say or, so we expect the person to choose one of the options. And then in the case of so, we use it to express result or consequence of something. So it was cold, so I turned on the heating. It was cold, then the result is that what I did was to turn on the heating. As you can see, when we have complete sentences, we will place a comma before the conjunctions. But when we don't have complete sentences dividing the ideas, then we don't place a comma in that case. That in this example will be the case of or. So, any questions about these conjunctions? Yo me imagino que la mayoría ya las han visto, ya las han usado. pero no sé si tienen alguna duda.
No, teacher.
No? Okay. And then, as I told you, the other element that we'll study is giving advices and, well, pieces of advice. Then, in this case, in the book, you are asked to use should and also would. And the two of them, they work the same way. You are not evaluated pronunciation in this course, but just for general knowledge and for you to know, like we don't pronounce the O and we don't pronounce the L. So we won't say would or should, but we will say would and should. So only the first consonant sound and the last D, and of course the U. So should and would. In the case of the positive sentence, we will place first the subject, that it could be the personal pronoun or any other subject. Then we will place should or would, and then the verb will go in the simple form. Same thing as what we did with will. So it means we won't change the verb, and we won't add a to in between should and the verb. So we can say I should go, you should go, he should go, and so on and so forth. But we will never say she should to go. ¿Ok? Ese es un error muy común. Cuando usan los modal verbs, es muy común que le agreguen ese to. Entonces recuerden, no le agregamos el to. Dígame, Olman.
Muchas gracias, profe. Preguntar brevemente, conforme a lo que dijo nuestro estimado compañero Christopher, ¿verdad? Anteriormente, perdón por devolverme, es que no quería como interrumpir el orden. Él está hablando sobre como el vocabulario un poco que deberíamos como estudiar, ¿no? Como para las pruebas.
Correcto.
Porque, digamos así, la primera evaluación era, bueno, si era como un ejemplo, la gramática, digamos, el vocabulario sí era amplio, pero con lo que entendí, tú estabas diciendo como que hay que apoyarnos también como en los audios y demás, ¿correcto? ¿Qué consejo, digamos así, nos darías en ese caso, ¿verdad? Porque como dice el compañero, que es muy acertado el comentario, sí es bastante amplio el nivel de comprensión que hay que tener para ciertas, ¿verdad? Palabras, tiempos, ¿verdad? Demás.
Sí, correcto. Por eso vemos la gramática. El vocabulario es vocabulario de la carrera que ustedes están estudiando, y el vocabulario de las evaluaciones es tomado de lo que tienen ustedes en el libro. Entonces recuerden que como parte de la metodología de la UNED es que ustedes estudian por su cuenta, y en la tutoría venimos a aclarar las dudas. Entonces yo lo que hago es tomar una muestra de los contenidos gramaticales más importantes, y como le indiqué a Christopher, al final si tienen alguna pregunta de algún contenido en específico de las 2 unidades que corresponden a esta tutoría, con mucho gusto yo puedo ayudarles. Pero no tendría sentido hacer una tutoría en la que veamos el diccionario, por así decirlo, de los términos que incluye las unidades, ¿verdad? Entonces ustedes estudian, hacen los ejercicios que vienen en el libro, ahí tienen la clave de respuestas, y con eso pueden ir sacando fichas o no sé cómo le funcione a cada uno, ya sea por comprensión. Los términos de informática son muy transparentes, entonces eso es una ventaja. Y como les digo, se supone que ya ustedes tienen la base en español del vocabulario.
Sí, muchas gracias.
Con mucho gusto. Ok, so let's continue.
Bueno, perdón, es que otra vez tenía la mano levantada.
No hay problema, dígame.
No, digamos, solo para aclarar un poco, digamos, a lo que me refería con lo de informática, tal vez no es tanto el vocabulario en sí, digamos, el vocabulario sí hay algunas palabras que se pueden traducir bien casi que de puro ojo, otras se pueden entender bastante por contexto, y hay alguna que otra que es un poquito complicada, pero nada que no se pueda traducir. Pero sinceramente lo que yo quería recalcar es que a lo que me refería con los temas de informática es mucho a las funciones, digamos, de ciertas palabras, ciertos tipos de redes, ciertos tipos de devices, de dispositivos, los routers, los hubs, los switches, ciertas cosas en las que uno no solamente tiene que saber lo que significan, sino pues la función que ejercen en el campo de la tecnología. Porque varias veces, digamos, en los quizzes o en los exámenes, hay mucha comprensión de lectura. Entonces, si uno tiene más claro en español y inglés la función de cada cosa, pues se le haría un poquito más fácil, pero me refería específicamente a eso. Pero, pero nada más quería aclarar esa parte, disculpe.
Ah, sí, sí, no, no hay ningún problema. Como usted lo dijo, en general las evaluaciones son de comprensión de lectura, no de memorización. Entonces no se preocupe, no se estrese con eso porque no es como que usted tenga que memorizar el significado o la explicación de cada una de las funciones, sino comprenderla dentro de los textos o el input que le dan en cada una de las evaluaciones. Entonces no hay ningún problema.
Claro, perfectamente entendible. Muchas gracias.
Con mucho gusto. Okay, any other question? Okay. So, well, let's continue. So we were on the part of giving advice using should or would. So as I told you, for the affirmative sentence, we will have the subject plus the modal verb, or should in this case, or would, that are the two included in your program, and the verb in the simple form. Then in the case of the negative sentence, we will use again the subject. Then we will use the modal verb, either should or would. In this case, we can have others, but in this case, you are just studying these two. Plus the negative particle not. And as I told you since the first session, remember that not will be usually abbreviated. So we can say, I should not go, or I shouldn't go. Or if we use would, I would go, or I wouldn't go. And in the case of the question, we will do the same thing as what we have been doing with the different tenses. That is the subject-verb inversion. In this case, we will place the modal auxiliary should at the beginning, and then the subject, and then the verb. So should I go or should we go? That will be the question. And then for the short answer, we will have the two options. The affirmative answer, that will be yes, we should, or no, they shouldn't, for example. So remember that the combination of the subject that you choose, it's open, so you can use the pronouns, or you can use a very specific element depending on the context of the sentence or the text that you are writing or reading. Okay? Any questions about giving advice? No? Then I left a space open for you to produce a little bit with the two elements that we studied in the last two elements, that are the recommendations, so using should, shouldn't, would, wouldn't, and also the conjunctions and, but, or, and so. So the idea is that you imagine that one of your friends is planning on buying a new computer, and that you can type or write 3 recommendations using the elements that we studied. Okay, so you can do it in the chat, and well, you can do it by yourselves, and if you want me to check what you are writing, so you can put them in the chat. I can also open a jam, but the thing is that the boards and the jams sometimes are a little bit chaotic, so I think it's better if you write them in the chat. Okay, that will be optional. El que quiere que le revise las oraciones, entonces lo puede poner en el chat y ahí las podemos ir viendo. Por si alguno no entendió las instrucciones, entonces la idea es que se imaginen que alguno de sus amigos está planeando comprar una computadora nueva y que ustedes van a escribir 3 recomendaciones. Traten de utilizar en una should, en otra shouldn't o would y wouldn't, ¿verdad? No, tratar de no repetir. Vean que tienen 4 elementos y les estoy pidiendo 3. Y lo mismo con los conjunctions. Traten de no repetirlas, sino de usar en cada una de las oraciones al menos un conjunction y al menos un modal verb. Entonces ahí les voy a dejar el chat abierto para el que quiera que le revise las oraciones o si quieren hacerme alguna consulta unos ratitos, unos minutitos y ya después podemos pasar a otras preguntas que tengan de la unidad 4 y 5. Okay, Christopher typed, you should buy a Dell computer because it is cheaper. Very good. You use another conjunction, Christopher, because that's a good conjunction, not part of the ones you are studying in the lesson, but it's a good conjunction and the sentence is perfect.
Teacher?
Yes.
I'm sorry, I got up just like some chart here that said that I just have a couple of minutes left because it's like a free meeting, so I don't think I could participate in the rest of the activities. And I'm sorry, just in case that you see I'm out.
Okay, if it closes, then I will open it again. No problem. I got the same message, but usually it has no limit of time, so I don't know what's going on.
Neither.
Yeah, don't worry. Okay, Alberto. No, yes, Alberto wrote, you should buy an Apple computer. Very good. And Christopher made the correction. Remember, we use an, no a. Good. But, and you need to write another sentence. I should buy an Apple computer, but it is really expensive, for example. So you place a contrast. Recuerde, Alberto, que but es para poner contraste. Equivale en español a usar pero. Entonces damos una característica buena o positiva y algo negativo o algo que debo hacer, pero no lo puedo hacer por algún motivo, una excusa, un motivo por el cual no puedo hacerlo.
Ok, teacher, gracias.
Uh-huh. Okay, so if anyone else is going to type a sentence, then maybe we can go over general questions. I don't know if someone has a question related to the lessons or something else that you will need help with. ¿Alguna duda, alguna pregunta en español o en inglés? No hay ningún problema. Okay, we got another question in the chat, another sentence. You should consider buying this computer. Let me see. Se me perdió acá. You should consider buying this computer for its excellent performance and reliability. Ajá, excellent, Laura. Muy bien, very good. En este caso, Laura unió dos características, no dos oraciones, dos características que también se puede hacer de esa manera. And Mario wrote, you shouldn't buy a computer without having a mouse and keyboard. Ajá, same thing. In this case, Mario, I think, Mario, you did the same thing as Laura. He wrote the sentence, in this case it's negative, a negative sentence, and he used the conjunction to join two devices, the mouse and the keyboard. Then Helen wrote, you should do a review of which one you want and which one is better. Helen used two different clauses, joining them into one sentence. Which one you want, which one is better. Very good. Okay, ¿alguna otra oración, alguna otra pregunta? Well, if you don't have any other questions, it was a pleasure for me to be here. Remember that we have one more session to go over lessons number 5 and 6. So I hope you have a good night, and I will see you in our next session. Okay, Christopher wrote, before buying a computer, you should see the specifications. Good. Christopher, you didn't include a conjunction, but the sentence is good.
Sure, sorry, I always forget the conjunction. So.
Yeah, that's okay, but just that if in the exam you are requested, or in the quiz, if you are requested to use the elements, remember that's part of the evaluation. But the sentence is correct. Okay, so
understood.
Sophia wrote, you should buy a Mac because you are a designer. But if you don't have enough money, you can... Y ahí no ponemos el tú. Sofía, recuerde que después de los modal verbs, el verbo va en la forma simple. Entonces, you can buy a good PC for you. Very good. Laura wrote, you should be aware that this computer tends to overheat under heavy use. Good, Laura. In this case, you don't have the conjunction, but the sentence is correct. Okay, perfect. Okay, so if there are no more sentences or questions, I will see you on session number 4. Have a good night.
Thank you, teacher.
Welcome, bye.
Have a good one.
Thank you.
Thanks, teacher. Good night.
Good night.
Profe,
Sí,
profe,
diga.
¿me escucha?
Sí, dígame.
Profe, respecto a la evaluación, es que, bueno, a mí me faltaron unos punticos ahí para que me diera la prueba, que pedían un 7, ¿verdad? O un 70, no sé, que algo así era.
Uh-huh.
Pero me dio un 6,96.
Uh-huh.
Entonces, la pregunta es si eso es similar a las evaluaciones del colegio, ¿verdad? Que tomaban los trabajos extra y todo eso, y entonces al final lo sumaban todo y le daba una nota final a uno.
Sí, acuérdese que para cada curso en la UNED siempre va a recibir la orientación académica y en la orientación académica viene la evaluación del curso. En este caso en particular, en el de inglés para informática 1, se les evalúan 4 cosas, que sería el primer quiz, la primera prueba ordinaria, el segundo quiz y la segunda prueba ordinaria. Entonces la suma de todo eso es lo que le tiene que dar el promedio total. No hay ningún problema, digamos, si en otra evaluación saca una nota más alta, entonces ahí el promedio le va cerrando.
Ok, perfecto. Gracias, profe.
Con mucho gusto. So, Christopher, Edward, Laura, Olman, Patricia, any other questions?
No, it's just that I just want to stay and just at the end.
Okay, just to see if someone else asks something useful for you or because you want to ask me something else.
That's right, the reason.
Okay, no problem.
Have a good night.
You too, thank you.
It's a pleasure, teacher.
Thank you, same for me. Bye.